Hi everybody, this is Michelle from Virtual Hand Care. We're going to talk about ways that you can help with sensitivity in your hand or your fingers. This will also be helpful if you happen to have a scar that is a little bit more on the sensitive side. So there's a few finger injuries that you can get, such as crush injuries to the fingertips, that can result in very, very sensitive nerve endings. The tips of our fingers are full of so many nerves that help us be able to feel pressure and feel sensation. Well, when you have an injury to those nerve endings, they can be very hypersensitive. And sometimes we need to help get those nerves a little more calmed down in not such a hypersensitive state. And to do that, we want to expose them to different textures and watch what we're doing so that we can kind of get that hand to brain signal going a little bit more normally. Something as simple and as soft as a towel can feel like sandpaper or can feel like needles. What you want to do is start off with something that is very, very soft and very gentle. So basically something that is not annoying to your nerve endings at all. Start off with something as gentle as cotton balls. What you can do is, say your fingertips, say you had a crush injury and you're not using that finger because it's so sensitive. What you want to do is do the opposite of what you want to do, which you want to avoid using it, but that's not going to help it get desensitized. So you want to start by exposing those nerve endings to some light, more comfortable fabric, or I like to use cotton balls. And you can just work on gently picking up those cotton balls and placing them in your hand and getting the tips of the finger kind of used to rubbing over that cotton ball. You'll want to set a timer for yourself because you want to do this for several minutes, for up to about 5 minutes or so, several times a day, in order to start desensitizing it. So after you're able to use cotton balls or silk, and it's feeling pretty good, you're not having irritation, then you would want to progress to something that's a little bit of a different texture. Something, perhaps a softer towel, or perhaps a soft shirt, and working on just kind of gently gripping that towel or rubbing that sensitive finger over the towel. Now, if your towels are very bleached and or older, then you may want to not use that one right away and go to something like a cotton shirt or something that's a little bit less irritating. So the point is to start with something that's not too irritating to the finger, but just enough until that gets more comfortable for you. Then you want to progress to the next step, which would be something a little bit more irritating. And then you would work on that for a few minutes, a couple times a day, and then could keep progressing from there. So I have some rice, and then I also have some beans in a bowl. These are pinto beans. You can use any kind of beans. Just note that some beans may be a little bit sharper than others. So what I like to do is to have people work on fill up a bowl with the beans and working on just submerging the finger, the sensitive finger, or the scar. If you're working on scar desensitization, you're just submerging that into the bowl of beans. And it's also great for range of motion too, so you can work on opening and closing that finger and working on grasping the beans as well. And again, set a timer for about 5 minutes and work on that motion as well as desensitizing that finger. And then you can progress to rice. If rice feels a little bit more aggravating to you because it's a little pointier. So this would be a good progression, is then fill up a bowl with rice And the same thing, work on digging the finger through the rice. The rice is a bit more dense, so you have to kind of push through it, so it gives you a little more resistance. So that also is very good for applying a little pressure to that sensitive area. If you are very sensitive when your finger gets hit, and that is so common. If their finger gets hit, it makes them jump through the roof because it is so sensitive. Then you want to start adding some more pressure to it, or do some tapping. And I like to do either tapping on like a table, or you can take a pen or a marker and work on tapping over that sensitive area. And again, doing that a couple of times a day, as often as you can think about it. And what you'll notice is that that tapping, you want to go light, of course, and then eventually get firmer, you know, and start hitting it a little bit harder. And eventually you'll get used to that and it won't be so sensitive. Other options are to get kind of a spiky ball. You might not be able to do this right off the bat, and this might be something more at the end stage of your healing. So working on a spiky ball and just kind of working on putting pressure with that ball or rolling that ball around over your scar is a perfect way to help get those nerve endings less sensitive as well. If you've tried everything and you still are having a hard time with perhaps some work tasks that you're doing or some hobbies that you're doing, and you still have a certain spot that just can't seem to heal, and you feel like you need a little more protection so that you don't bump it, there are some great silicone caps out there, and I just have an example of one here, and I can put a link of this one in the comments below. But there's a silicone gel in here, so this is perfect for putting a little bit of gentle compression over a scar that's perhaps a little elevated. So if it's very sensitive because it's a little swollen or the scar is kind of raised, the silicone can help flatten that out and make that less raised. But this can also help protect it. And they come in different sizes and they're stretchy too. So, and they won't keep you from moving, which is important. You don't want something really rigid that's gonna make you more stiff. But because it goes around the whole finger, it's good to help with any swelling that you might have. But also the silicone inside is very soft on the scar and will allow you to use the hand while you're dealing with your sensitivity. So I hope that helps you. Like this video and subscribe to virtualhandcare.com. If you're having a hard time recovering from a hand injury, or if you're looking for ways to prevent some hand injuries, then go to virtualhandcare.com and book an online consultation with me. Thanks for watching.